All right, guys, I'm going to give my breakdown and my predictions of this weekend's pay-per-view event. I am so bloody excited for this weekend. I have so many fighters that I am emotionally invested in, and I feel like if I do not see the results that I want to see, it's going to be a very, very upsetting week for me. It's also my birthday week as well, so I need a couple of wins here, guys. Let's start straight away with the pay-per-view main card. That's what I'm going to be giving my predictions on, and let's go with Bo Nickal versus Tyson Gore. Now, when it comes to my personal investment for this kind of a fight, I don't have too many emotions riding on Bo Nickal. I'm not that huge of a fan of him. I understand that he's great for that American wrestling market, but I think he's getting like too much Dana White privilege here. Like, he's being on these main cards. He doesn't deserve to be on these main cards. He's ranked like 30th or something in his division. He's had a couple of fights in the UFC. Like, I don't understand why we're giving him such a nice shine. His last win was via nutshot, and I think they're giving him an easy win here. I think Bo Nickal is obviously going to beat Tyson Gore. So if you're going to put together a nice little trifecta here that we call them in Australia, I know you guys like to call them parlays in America, I'd be putting Bo Nickal on there for a win for sure. I'd even be putting it as a first round finish. I think they're going to play with each other a little bit on the feet, exchange jabs, exchange shots, and then when things start to get a little bit rough and a little bit heated, Bo Nickal is going to dive in for that double leg, and there is going to be a ground and pound TKO finish in the first round. That is what I think for that first fight. As for Bo Nickal, I want to see him actually tested, like properly tested. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we need Dagestani wrestlers now. This is why Dagestani wrestlers exist, to prove to the Americans that their wrestling isn't the best in the world. So I can't believe I'm calling for this. I hate myself for doing it, but I want to see a Dagestani wrestler go up against Bo Nickal. I think after Bo Nickal wins this, he should be going up against Albert Duraev or Iskram Aliskerov. That's what I want to see for him, and I want to actually test this wrestling proper. Like, how good are you, Bo Nickal, or are you just Dana White's favorite toy at the moment? All right, moving up the pay-per-view. Jarlin Turner versus Dan Hooker. Jarlin Turner is a racist. He hates Australians. For some reason, he makes it his mission to hunt down Australians and beat them up. Even if those fights have been cancelled, he'll happily rebook them. No other fighter does that. I don't understand why we're not on Twitter calling out Jarlin Turner for his blatant racism against Australians. I think Jarlin Turner's got this one. I think Dan Hooker is washed. He is starting to get worse and worse with each fight. I know that he won his last fight, but he really should have won his last fight. And this fight is a bit more of a struggle for him. I know Dan's lost to a great resume of fighters, but with those losses come a shake in confidence. And lately, Dan Hooker hasn't been moving his head at all. He's just getting jabbed up, 1-2'd up. He's got great footwork, but his head just stays on this center line. I think Jarlin Turner is going to easily find that. I expect Jarlin Turner will probably put Dan Hooker away in the second round. So let's move up the card to Dricus du Plessis versus Robert Whittaker. This is the one that I am so scared of. I'm so scared of and so emotionally invested in this one, because I think there is a chance for a UFC robbery here. The kind of robbery where they want to build a contender, so they give him the win. Look, Robert Whittaker is not great at finishing guys, is he? He's really, really good at beating them up over 25 minutes or over 15 minutes. He's very good at point scoring. He's a very, very good fighter. Dricus du Plessis is a dog, and he's fixed his nose and he can breathe now, which means he is going to be coming for Robert Whittaker just as hard as He's going to be coming for Robert Whittaker just as hard as Robert Whittaker is going to be point scoring against him. And that's what's going to make it a very competitive fight. I do feel like it's going to be a competitive fight. It's going to go the distance. Maybe that's something to put some money on if you're looking for that. But when it comes to the judges, we've seen the UFC favor fighters that they want a bump in. We've seen the UFC favor fighters like Sean O'Malley against Petr Yan when they want to build a decent pay-per-view next, a couple of months down the line. They know who they want to fight Israel Adesanya. They want it to be Dricus du Plessis for that money. We all know that Robert Whittaker has sort of got that Max Holloway effect at the moment, where he is clearly the #1 contender, but the money just isn't there to justify it for the UFC. So when it comes down to the judges' scorecards, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Robert get robbed here. So here's my prediction for this fight. Robert Whittaker is going to win the fight over 3 rounds, and Dricus du Plessis is going to get it in the judges' eyes and get the official win. I think Robert Whittaker is going to get robbed again. And if that happens, I'm going to be so upset all week long. It's going to kill me. It's going to kill me because I think that's what's going to happen. And, you know, my girlfriend's just going to have to deal with it. I'm just going to be a wreck the whole bloody week. All right, let's move up the card. Alex Pantoja versus Brandon Moreno. I know Moreno's coming in as the favorite, and I can see why he's the favorite, but Alex is really, really impressive, and I think he can steal a win here. So if you're looking for the underdog of the card, I don't know if you want to put him in your trifecta / parlay, but I think that he has got the grit right now to be able to do it. When I talk about the fight and the fighter, I see that in Alex. Like, Brandon Moreno has just been through so many wars against Figueiredo that is going to start to wear on you. And I understand that Moreno is the younger fighter, but he's been there, he's been the champ, he's won it back. It's good to see him up against a new opponent. But Alex has been fighting for this for years, and he's finally here. And I can really see that dog in him come out. And if he gets on the back, I mean, Moreno's grappling is amazing, but Alex's might just be a step ahead, you know? Like, it could be like a real razor thin win, and I can see an upset happening here. Maybe in the fourth or maybe in the fifth round, late in the fight, I can see Alex just getting away with it and getting a slippery finish on Brandon. So I'd be watching out for that one. That one is a very interesting fight. If I'm going to have to put my bet down anywhere, if I'm going to have to say someone is going to win, Pantoja is going to be winning that one. I just feel it in here. You know when you get those gut feelings? Like, I think we're on with this one. Then, Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. Again, as an Aussie, and as an Aussie wog, much like a Volk, I get that I see Volk as the best fighter in the world. And he is the best fighter in the world. I think he beat Islam Makhachev. I think he beat him in the third round. I don't think control time counts for anything when you're getting punched in the face, but that's all right. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this fight. Rodriguez has been built up as a little bit of a hype train. Like, he's really good. He's really, really good. But he got beaten up early in his career and his wrestling got exposed. And the question was, you know, has he grown on that? Has he learned how to grapple? Has he learned how to wrestle? Well, when he fought Brian Ortega, like, he won that fight pretty much by default because Ortega popped his shoulder out. And during the short amount of time that that fight was happening, Ortega was controlling him against the cage. So you got to ask yourself, like, is he a better grappler than Volkanovski? No, he isn't. Volkanovski will outmuscle him easily. Well, then you look at the boxing, and let's just, you know, do a little bit of MMA maths. He lost to Holloway, and Volkanovski destroyed Holloway. Like, so is Volkanovski a better boxer than Rodriguez? Yeah, I think he is. Like, people are saying that this is a close fight. I just said this is a close fight. Yeah, it's a close fight, but really, when you go back and, you know, watch the tape on these guys, like, have a good week this week, guys. When you come home from work, sit down and go watch the last 5 fights of each fighter. Like, just chill out, do that. And then really tell yourself, like, do you think Yair Rodriguez can beat Volkanovski? No, he can't. That is the way to build your parlays and build your trifectas. You go Bo Nickal, you go Jalen Turner, you go Volkanovski. If you want to put some spice on there, you go Bo Nickal in the first, Jalen Turner in the second, Volkanovski in the fourth via TKO. Very similar to what he did to the Korean Zombie. But the excitement that I have for this, and if Robert Whittaker lose and Volkanovski lose, I might be making a trip to the rope store. I don't know if I can keep watching the UFC after this. We might be closing this channel down early, guys. All right, they're my thoughts. They're my predictions for the upcoming UFC 290. I am so excited for this. I can't wait to speak to you guys on fight day. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know how you think the fights are going to go. I'll see you in the next video.